Abhi, just mute the video.
My video is muted.
No, your video is seen.
I stopped the video.
Yeah, now it is stopped. Yes.
Can you check now?
Sorry.
The audio, how is it?
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant.
Okay, I have gone for a wired set now.
Yeah, this is perfectly fine. This is perfectly fine.
Okay, cool.
Something has happened to the. Something has happened to the.
To the?
I'm just seeing. Okay, it is live there. With the. No, I was just seeing the live link on YouTube because there is a delay of 20 minutes. Sorry, 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
On YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube there is a delay of 20 seconds. I'm just seeing. I was just seeing. So how has been the weather there in Goa now?
Hot, humid. I'm waiting for the cyclone.
Oh, waiting for the cyclone. I really like that.
Make it a bit cool.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So he has unmuted. Okay. You can hear me now, Abhi?
Yeah, I can.
For another 5 minutes.
No problem.
Yeah, okay. So he has unmuted. You can hear? Hi, Vinaya. Hi, Vinaya. So, Abhi, Vinaya is good. Yeah, Mrs. Vinaya Hegde is going to be the, I told you, she's a senior journalist.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she has just joined. Vinaya, unmute, kindly unmute. Yeah, okay. All right. Hi,
Hi.
Vinaya. There is Abhi there.
Namaste.
Namaste.
You can just talk with him. Give me 2 minutes, I'll join. Vinaya, you can introduce to Abhi. Vinaya, we will begin at 6:05, okay?
Yeah.
5 minutes we will wait for
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Anyway, it's live streamed on right now on YouTube.
Huh.
There are people watching there.
Huh.
Just 5 minutes because
Huh.
that's grace time. Yes.
Okay.
Please log in. Where indeed? Capture on the note just to the confirmation. All right, Abhi. Is my setting okay, Abhi?
I can't see you actually.
You can't see me.
Hold on a second. Yeah, I can see you now. Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So just another 2 minutes. It's at 6:05. So let's start then. Let me just see the YouTube ones. And, okay, so it is also from YouTube. It is being shared on Facebook. So a lot of people are watching. All right, so
Okay.
here we go. Very warm welcome to Commander Abhilash Tomy. We're all your huge fans. I've been a fan of yours for the last decade, and really enjoyed reporting on you, our conversations, especially our conversations and communication when you were on major missions. Those late night, uh, very, very precious conversations, no signals, lines getting cutting off, and yet you were trying to send across those golden messages which I converted into stories. And then, of course, for all those, my madness, Vinaya was my prime, acting as my editor, vetting my copies, shaping it in a better way, helping me to present it to the world in a better way. So, very happy that you are here with us from Goa. And tonight, um, you know, we're sure that we are going to inspire a lot of youngsters. The purpose of this show is to inspire youngsters, the young India. That's the sole focus of all our shows, which you are aware of. And also, perhaps through you, through your experience, we would want to hear, we would want to learn, and we would also want to unlearn how to take on challenges head on. And we couldn't have found a better man than Abhilash Tomy. We're all very proud of you. Vinaya, your opening like remarks.
Yeah, good evening, Commander Abhilash. It's a privilege to meet you. So, okay. See, what has been going through my mind is that I'll ask you questions not related to the technical stuff of what you were doing when you were sailing, but to what was going on inside your head. Okay, so a lot of planning must have gone into your circumnavigation. What I want to know is, how did you prepare yourself mentally and psychologically for that?
The first thing that I really didn't have to worry about my mental preparation because the fact that you want to do it itself is good enough. If somebody were to force me to do it, then that would have been a completely different story. The fact is that I wanted to do it, and that desire itself is good enough to carry you around the world. But in addition to that, before I set off on my first circumnavigation, I had sailed about close to 27,000 nautical miles. And in those 27,000 nautical miles, I went through a wide range of emotions. And it kind of gave a glimpse into what can happen to the mind when you're out at sea for a long time. So initially, sailing is a very uncomfortable thing. Ocean sailing. It's sometimes it's very hot. Otherwise, it's very cold, or the sea is very rough. It's not easy to eat. You have nausea. You got a lot of problems. And in those times, I often would think of the destination. I would often think of say if you're sailing to Mauritius, you're thinking of reaching Mauritius and going into a hotel room and taking a nice shower and all that. So whenever I would think of the destination and all the good things that it held, I went into a greater despair in the present. Eventually, after a lot of sailing, I learned to not focus on the destination. I learned to focus on the present moment. And that really helped. It really didn't matter if the weather is going to be bad tomorrow. It didn't matter if it's going to be very good tomorrow. If you're in a storm right now, I just accepted that I was in a storm. I did what I could to, deal with that storm. And if I was in calms, I would just accept it rather than rejoice too much over it. This really helped me mentally during the circumnavigation. In the sense that I accepted the situation and I was not really looking forward to finishing it at any point.
So initially you were focused on the destination. Later you started focusing on the present moment.
Yes, exactly. That's a common human tendency. You're going somewhere, you're always thinking of the destination and everything that comes with the destination. First offshore trip I did on Madey was towards Colombo, and I was miserable. It was hot. I had a lot of nausea, seasickness, vomiting, and all that. And it was natural for me to focus on the destination because you are going back on terra firma. You got air-conditioned rooms, 5-star hotel, nice food, and all that. This was just a short trip, so I could somehow pull through. The next trip was towards Mauritius, which was 16 days. And the same thing repeated. I had, again, nausea, discomfort, this, that, and all that.
So even seasoned sailors go through seasickness.
I wasn't very seasoned at that time. But everybody starts with seasickness. And 95% of sailors get over seasickness. That's how it is.
You learn to go.
Yeah. So the thing is, initially I was really focusing on the destination, and in one of the sailings, I just stopped focusing on the destination. I started focusing on the present, and then I realized that I'm not counting the number of days to reach the destination. I'm not counting the number of miles to reach the destination, and I could have been in that storm or that calm or that sea forever, and I would still be happy. So that's one fundamental change that I brought about in my thinking process. And I believe the same holds true for Corona right now. People are waiting for the situation to end so that they can do so many things they've been planning, so that they can travel, meet friends and all that. And I believe that this sort of attitude really makes you miserable in the present. Even in the Corona, I've just been doing the, practicing what I just told you, just being in the present.
So I want to just ask you, Abhi, that she has set the course with a very interesting question straight away. How important is for youngsters, especially who are, let's say, 11, 12, doing the professional courses? It could be BCom, it could be MCom, it could be literature. it could be, and then the so-called engineering and medical streams, whatever. How significant is the journey? रास्ता कितना significant है more than the destination? Because हर लोग destination के बारे में बोलते हैं. And for the benefit of a lot of people are telling, for the benefit of people who have tuned in from different parts of India, perhaps we also need to थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बात करना पड़ेगा. तो destination is a hero, and the unsung hero हमेशा the journey. So how significant is that path?
For a person who is, the age group you're talking about, doing their professional courses and all that, there is no destination at the moment. It is the process, and it is a process that is making them. Destination is just a target to achieve. But once you reach the destination, you realize that there is another destination, there's another destination, and the journey continues. What they pick up along the journey is what matters. For example, if you're reading a book which you don't really understand, but you need to read it very well so that you can clear an exam, which is so-called destination, how you deal with that problem is what matters. Because eventually when you are in a job or something, you will have a similar problem, and you'll probably use the same technique to overcome that problem. So yes, that journey is really much more important. How you tackle your journey, that's what's important rather than the destination. Now, I'll give you an example. When I was in 10th standard, social studies was one of my weak points. And to prepare myself really well for social studies board exams, 10th board exams, I picked up Nehru's autobiography. I picked up glimpses of world history. I picked up Toynbee's study of history, and I read all these books. I read all these books as well as I could. The fact is, at the end of in 10th boards, social studies was the lowest scoring subject for me. I scored only 69 compared to 80s and 90s for the other subjects. But I really don't regret the fact that I read these books. They give me some lessons which have been with me for my entire lifetime, for the next 25-30 years that followed. I'll talk about Toynbee, who in a study of history says very clearly that it is the response to a challenge that makes you what you are. He analyzes 21 civilizations and talks how the civilizations responded to various kind of challenges, and then they grew. And those civilizations which could not respond to challenges did not flourish. So, that book, which is such a huge seminal work, gave me this very simple lesson, which I've been really utilizing through my life. Similarly, all these guys, girls who are studying right now, the process, the journey really matters. You should focus on that.
All right. So what did your, I know you're very, like all of us, you're very well connected with family, your father, your mother. I have been interacting with your father when you went, for that last trip. What did your mother tell you every time you set out on a course or missions like these?
My mother is born and brought up in Kerala, in a village. She studied till 10th standard, never had a job in her life. She's always been working at home. She's been a housewife. So you expect somebody who's very conservative. That's a mind that you would expect out of her, but she isn't. And there are a lot of examples that stand out when I speak about my mother and her attitude towards life. The first one, when I just cleared the the basic flying in Allahabad, after that you have to choose your stream. You can either become a fighter pilot or a reconnaissance pilot or a helicopter pilot, and you have to give your choice. Now, because I was standing second in the course, I could have chosen whatever I wanted and I would have gotten it. I chose reconnaissance for my own reasons. I told my mother that I'm choosing reconnaissance, and she's like, why don't you take fighters? And I tried to discourage her. I told her that you'll have to fly MiG-21s to train. And they are also called as the flying coffins. And, so many people die during training itself. And my mother says, It will take just 10 seconds for the aircraft to crash. You will not even know you're dead. And I had to call my friends. I had to call one of my friends, and I asked him to go and convince my mother. He went and spoke something, and next time my mother calls me and tells me, I don't like helicopters, which means that I could take reconnaissance. And I, ended up taking reconnaissance, and I continued with my training, came to Bangalore and all that. Another incident I can talk about is I had this accident. My spine fractured. I was rescued. Came to hospital after 15 days, had a surgery. I was still walking on crutches. I was learning to walk. And I called my mother. I was speaking to her, and she asked me, I hope you're not going to sail anymore. And I said, nothing like it, mother. I'll, assess my condition later. I will see if I can walk and run and pull ropes and all that. And then I'll take a call whether I can sail or not. My mother tells me, that's exactly what I expected out of you. And she is like really pushing me back into the sea now. That's her.
So she is pushing you back into the sea. So
she is pushing me to be what I can be. She's not stopping me from being what I want to be.
So, I remember talking to your mother, your parents, when you were on that expedition. So they told me stories about how you used to, as a kid, when your dad was posted in Bombay, virtually you started making those small boats out of whatever was available, and you went to the sea and you started doing experiments. So the young Abhilash started doing with experiments with sea at a very young age. Can you please take us back to Bombay and those experiments which eventually perhaps would have cemented your Aage ka flight path?
My father was posted in a place called Karanja. That is, the hill that you see right opposite Bombay, Elephanta, Karanja and all that. It's in Raigad district. And there the Navy has a missile base. We store the missiles there. After my 6th standard, my friend and I would cross a fence, go into the rocky beach there, and we would look for these pieces of dry foam or thermocol, small pieces, and we would shape it and make it into little boats, fit a sail on top. It could be a thin piece of thermocol, or it could even be a flat stone, and we would put split a blade in two, make a rudder and make a keel, and we would gently let it float, and it was really nice to see them sail away. One of those days, we saw huge pieces of thermocol, and I believe those were the packaging material of missiles, and someone must have thrown it into the sea to discard them. I'm talking about 92, when people were not really aware of environmental issues and garbage and all that. So somebody must have thrown these big chunks of thermocol, and my friend and I would get on it and take a huge piece of stick and punt out into the sea and come back. And we kept doing it. And one day my mother saw 2 boys doing this, sitting from the balcony of our house. When I came back, my mother asked me, was it you? I said, yes. And I thought I'm going to get a nice slap and all that. But she said, just be careful. That's all she said. She didn't say anything beyond that. Yeah, so that was that incident. At that time, my friend and I decided we will join the Navy. We'll have a life at sea. In 2008, I met that friend again on a boat that was going to the same place. And, I was like, Sushil, he's like, hi, Abhilash. It's after almost a couple of decades. And we restart our conversation. And I asked him, what are you doing these days? He says, I'm a banker. And, life took him in that direction.
All right, Vinaya, over to you.
See, you mentioned that during your earlier voyages, you would focus on the destination. So how does it feel to land? How does your first step on land feel after months on choppy seas? What does it feel like?
In the beginning, it was relief when I was looking at the destination. Like I said, you're going back to air-conditioned environment and lovely food, a bed that doesn't swing this way or that way. You get a dry bed to sleep. You get to wear dry clothes. And that's something really nice after spending a month at sea. But during my non-stop circumnavigation, when I finished the circumnavigation after 5 months, and I stepped on land, the feeling was completely different. I so enjoyed my solitude and so enjoyed my freedom and time at sea that I really didn't enjoy coming back on land. I did not enjoy sleeping on a bed that was surrounded by concrete. I did not enjoy sleeping on a bed that was stable. I did not enjoy conversations with people, forced conversations, because I didn't want to be a part of it. I did not enjoy too many people around me. I really had to make an effort to get back into society. It took quite some time.
That was something I was wondering about. See, what's happening during the pandemic is that families are cooped up under one roof 24/7. There's a lot of friction. People say, I don't get my space. There's no me time. But when you're on the sea all by yourself for months on end, how do you deal with that kind of loneliness? Are you getting too much me time? Are you getting too much space? Can there be too much of that?
I don't think there can be too much of that. All the me time that I get is very nice. I could have spent another 5 months, maybe 1 year alone at sea, beyond what I had spent. On the other hand, if I had crew with me in that small space, that would have been trouble. We would have ended up with a fight or something. Now, when you're alone, you get a kind of freedom that you seldom enjoy when you're with people. And that is not a physical freedom, because you're restricted to an area that is just, say, 15 meters long and 3 or 4 meters wide. That's a physical restriction, but mentally, you are completely free. It's a kind of freedom that you really can't experience when you're on land. Firstly, you don't need to have opinions. You don't need to wonder what the other guy is thinking about me. You don't need to exaggerate. You don't need to talk. You don't need to tell lies. You don't need to, do a lot of these things. You don't need to remember a lot of things. You don't need to adhere to timings which are set by the society. You are not required to adhere to morals and codes of conduct, etc., which are set by society. There is nobody to make you feel guilty of anything. So like that, the kind of freedom that you experience is unbelievable. And you don't find that quality of freedom anywhere on land, unless you, say thank you to society and leave and go.
There's something else I wanted to ask you, like to do with your sense of self or ego. See, what happens is, like, people, somebody in a big job, whatever, would have a huge ego, whatever. So when you're on this sea all by yourself, especially at night, you look about, there's just the sky and stars. There's this huge expanse of ocean. So you feel like a really tiny speck in that universe. So what does that do to your sense of self-worth or your ego? Is it a humbling experience, or does it make you doubt yourself? Like, what am I?
It is a humbling experience. It's a humbling experience. I've been through that. I remember that night in March, somewhere in the Indian Ocean, dark night, there was no moon, and you could see the entire Milky Way galaxy spread from one horizon to the other horizon. There are millions of these stars, which look like a mass of cloud. And, you are left wondering, there are so many stars and so many other planets and such immense universe. And what are you really? Now, it is humbling, but it is also revealing in the sense that if you are not that important, the things that you do are also not that important. When you're on land, you are so worried about what others are thinking about you. And that kind of gives you a lot of self-importance, as if the worlds of other people revolve around you or something like that. But when you see the immensity of the universe and how small you are, that really, for me at least, it pushed me to take more risks, do more things, because how much ever big adventure I would attempt, it would still be nothing for the universe. It would still be meaningless. In a way, it gave me a very different perspective of my life. It kind of changed my views.
So did people say you changed after that? Could others
Yes,
make out the difference, or was it only you who felt it inside?
I definitely felt the difference. I could.
The people around you?
I really didn't ask for their opinion. But I could feel the difference. I could see what people were chasing, what they were running after. I could see that people were giving meaning to things that did not exist. For example, they wouldn't buy a car for mobility, but to show off to their neighbors and boss. Or they would buy a house not for comfort, but to gain certain status in society. And, they never looked at something with the meaning that it was giving. They always gave their own meaning to things that they were trying to own. And you could see through this when you come back on land. So, I continued with my car that was 8 years old. I continued, the Navy gave me the job of looking after a restaurant after coming back. And I did that job wholeheartedly. I didn't feel diminished by this small job that was given. Because I really stopped attributing meaning to all these things beyond what they represented in themselves.
That's amazing.
That's a very interesting thing, considering how people chase fame, how people chase, adulation, how people, despite all the spotlight on you, despite so many, achievements, that is why we like you, Abhi. That is why we follow you, whatever you do. That is why we stay awake when you are sailing in the night. That is why we get up early morning and check where is your boat. Because of your humble thing, you taught us as a great sailor, and we all learn from each other. So now I wanted to just straight away go to Kochi, and there is a small surprise for you, Rahul. Can you please unmute? Rahul, can you please unmute? So, Rahul is a musician, multifaceted chap. Rahul, can you kindly? All right, so on Zoom, you will have these kind of slide delays. Can we see you, Rahul, please? Can you say something?
Hi.
Can you, okay, can we see you? Please unmute your video is should be on.
Oh yeah. Hi.
All right.
Hi,
Rahul, this is Rahul Menon, and this is a special tribute to Abhilash Tomy. He'll be playing a couple of, very, very talented man. I have shared his biodata here to all of you to see. This was just fixed, Abhi, just 1 hour back. In fact, I was trying for Stephen Davis, and I couldn't get him. So luckily, then Ram Prasad, my friend from Ram Seva Mandali, he's also getting someone. So Rahul, let's not waste time. Straight away, whatever you want to play. What are you playing? Guitar or?
No, I'm playing piano.
All right. Go ahead. All yours. Rahul. Okay, Abhi, you can.
What's that?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. It was fantastic.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
Rahul, what did you play? What was it?
This a movie PK. I played from a song from the movie PK, and the song of the song is Bhagavan. It shows that all the religions are same, all the human beings are same, only the physical, the thing is only difference, because in our soul it says that all our souls are same. So I thought this is the best song which I can dedicate to you. You're
Thank you
dealing
so
with a
much.
lot of people with variety of culture and uh, situations, right? So this is the best
Beautiful.
song which I can dedicate to you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
so
Rahul.
amazing. So we are not going to actually let you go. Abhi, actually,
Uh,
Rahul looks like exactly you after you came back after that circumnavigation pura.
Sorry, I was not that handsome.
Good one. All right. So Rahul, you plan the next one. I'll tune you in the maybe in the next around 7 o'clock one more time. We are also trying to get another young musician. This is what we do with our heroes, Abhi. We love you so much. So we'll get in a lot of inspiring guys to come and inspire you as well. We spoke about your mother, Abhi. Now let's talk about your father. How much of inspiration you got from your father? Because he was in Navy. I'm sure you grew up seeing him, undertaking various missions. So take us through your journey with your father.
One very big reason why I'm in the Navy is because of him. He was in the Navy. I remember times when I used to wear his uniform and cap and try to impress him, and he used to say, "You need to earn it. You can't just pick it off my wardrobe and wear it and think you're in the Navy." He was posted a couple of times in aviation bases. He was a police officer in the Navy, and he was posted in aviation bases. So from a very young age, on Sundays when there's nothing to do, or late nights if my father's on duty, I would just accompany him to the office. And his office had all sorts of helicopters and aircrafts, and real ones, and not toy aircrafts. And I would go and sit in, say, the Alouettes, Chetaks, or sometimes I would see the Islanders, or sometimes go and sit in the ATC and watch aircrafts land and take off. So this really inspired me to consider joining the Navy. So of course, father was a very big reason why I joined the Navy. After 12th standard, I cleared engineering, medicine entrance exams. Mother wanted me to be a doctor. Father wanted me to be an engineer. But unfortunately, I'd also cleared the Naval Academy entrance exams, and I wanted to join the Navy. And father was like, "No, you want to join government service? You can always write your IAS exams and become an IAS officer after engineering." But I said no. But that's one good thing about my parents. If I decide something, they really don't put a spoke in it. They give their opinions, but once I've decided, they really support me. If I'm in the Navy, my father is a very big reason for it.
You have given your parents a lot of nightmares. Not because of in a negative manner, because of the kind of missions you have undertaken. And I remember during the Golden Globe race last time, almost every day I used to call your dad, just to, so he used to get little bit of information from me, from other sources, other friends, how tough it was for them. Later on, I'm sure you would have spoken with them and met them, all that. But parents being parents, कितना मुश्किल था for your parents to, you know, just to get used to those very, very, I would say, tense phases? Or are they geared up for all these kind of issues in life because you being a sailor, adventurous?
I really don't think any parent can be geared up to see their children being put in harm's way in any manner. My parents operate at a very different level of maturity. They put up a very stoic face in front of me, but I'm sure they have their moments when they're really scared, they're very worried, and there's a lot of despair, especially when I had the accident. But at the same time, they put on a face of calmness in front of others. They don't show it. Long ago, in 2000, when I was posted in Valsura, I went missing in the sea for one entire night. And I had gone out sailing, the windsurf packed up, the people who came to rescue their boat packed up, and we were rescued the next day by an Air Force helicopter. Now, it was on Saturdays that I used to make my weekly phone call home. And that Saturday, I did not make a phone call. And the next day, it was a Sunday, I did not make a call because I was so exhausted that the doctors had to give me sleeping pills to make me sleep. On Monday, I called my father and he asked me, why did you call me on Saturday or Sunday? And I told him, I was lost at sea and I was picked up by a helicopter. And my dad tells me, oh, that's good. Wasn't that why you joined the Navy? So that you could have an adventure? And I was like, fantastic, a great set of parents. That's how it's been, throughout my naval career. There were times when I ran into trouble with my commanding officers, and they would call up my father and say, tell your son how to behave in the Navy. And my father would tell them off. He would really tell them that he may be my son, but right now he is your junior officer. You deal with him. I'm not going to advise him. And that's how it was. Even when I had the accident, my mother still tells me that a lot of people came to see her just to see her cry. Mother never cried. She never cried. She was like, he'll be back, I know that. But whatever be the case, I'm ready for it. She never showed that face of despair in front of others. Same with my father. Never really broke down, never, showed that face to anybody.
Yeah, so he was brilliant. Yes, he was brilliant. In fact, I can see, because I have interacted almost every day during that time. So let me ask you, Abhi, obviously I've asked this question when I was interviewing in the past, but for the benefit of our youngsters watching, and also let me tell you, there are some veteran Air Force pilots also now listening to, veteran in the sense, not very, very old, but they're also here. So among the many things you carried during your expedition on the small sailboat, there were some rations that was meant to be, some came from, different sources, some might have come from DFRL. But the most precious thing that definitely would have come from is the mother's kitchen. And what are those? Can you just, because Mother's Ke Mare mein actually we can do 24/7 sessions on Zoom because everybody has got so much to speak. And Corona has also taught us one lesson. Listen to your parents. First thumb rule. Half of the problem will be over. So can you tell us what are those special things Mama packed for you, which no storm could ever touch?
They actually came from her father. He packed pickled sharks.
Pickled sharks?
Yes, shark pickle. And he also packed tenga samandi, which he himself made. And that's something which was one of my go-to food when things were going very bad all around. Interestingly, I asked my grandfather if he would come and see me off at Bombay when I was starting. And he said, no, you can leave when you have to leave. But when you come back, I'll be there because the President of India will be there to receive you. Very prophetic words because the President of India was actually there. My grandfather couldn't come because he was, those were his last days. He was suffering from lung cancer. And a couple of days after my reception by the President, he passed away. Fortunately, I was able to rush to Kerala and see him before he left.
How is it to be welcomed by the President of India when you return after such a historic trip? I know Pranab Mukherjee was there in Bombay. Amazing visuals. It gives goosebumps, Abhiya. How is it to be? I have been to Rashtrapati Bhavan, but not welcomed by the president because I knew the president or the president knew me. There was a lot of security things, and finally you meet him. But here, the president of India is waiting, and here comes Abhilash after his historic trip. How is it feeling?
Very strange, I would say, uh, because I met him at a very wrong moment in life, I would say. You know, you come from a place where you're just trying to survive, and you're thrown amongst people, and you're not giving any importance to anybody. But looking back, I think that was one of the most significant moments in our history, because the president has never received anybody outside Rashtrapati Bhavan. All receptions are given at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Even if the president of America comes, he is given a reception at Rashtrapati Bhavan and not at the airport by the Honorable President. I remember I actually came in on 31st of March. I was told to come into Bombay Harbour at night so that nobody saw me. I was taken to a room in the mess. 6 days later, I was quietly whisked away and taken to my boat. I was told to sail out on my boat, and I came back at. I was told to come back to the gateway at 3 in the afternoon. I came back to the gateway, and while I was sailing in towards the gateway, there were 3 helicopters which gave me a fly past. After that, I turned the boat around, put it alongside the gateway. I got out of the boat, climbed the steps, and then I saw that the President of India was standing there to receive me. I saluted, I made reports, sir, non-stop circumnavigation of the earth is complete. He saluted me back. He said, on behalf of 1.3 billion people of India, I welcome you back on land. And a lot of things happened that day. I was really completely lost. I could not understand the importance of that occasion. We had to give speeches. I was sitting right next to the president. We had to give speeches. And the president really spoke a lot about the circumnavigation and its importance for the country. When I had to give my speech, I turned towards the president towards the end. I had to finish my speech. I turned towards him and I said, sir, can I go for one more round, please? And I could see the laughter in his face. Many months later, when I wrote my first book, the Honorable President gave his foreword for that book. And I went to gift him a copy at Rashtrapati Bhavan. I remember somebody conducted me into his room. He was sitting on a sofa and he saw me. He jumped up and he tells me, "Arey, you've become so fair." And I told him I've been applying Fair and Lovely. I'm just kidding. We had a conversation. He was apologizing for keeping me waiting that day because he arrived about 15 minutes after his scheduled time at the Gateway of India. So he apologized for keeping me waiting. I said, sir, you are the President of India. You're the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. You can make me wait for 15 minutes. You can make me wait for 15 days. The fact is, that is the humility of that person. And he remembered things so very well. He could recount every moment of that reception, even after so many months. I met him a couple of times again, one for the Kirti Chakra Award and also for the award of the Tenzing Norgay Adventure Award.
All right. So since we are with the president, let me just also ask you, have you met like Dr. Kalam anytime, any interaction with him?
Unfortunately, no. I think that's one of the regrets of my life.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He would have loved you, man. He would have. I'm sure he would have known about your, your adventures. But yeah, even I don't know. Maybe that time, maybe we weren't that close. Yeah. So now, just let me just now take you to some very specific kind of things, directing your so that you will direct your responses to youngsters who are watching this. You are on social media on different platforms, but I always observe that very measured kind of interactions. No sound, no dust, no carnival. Very, very measured kind of interaction. And I really like the way you interact in very few words. The message is clear. Today's youngsters, majority of them, have fallen in big trap of social media. And they're definitely finding it very tough to come out because it's a huge trap. What is the kind of, it is definitely an advice because you're an achiever. You have gone through, out of these 1.4 billion Indians, I don't think so, even 99.9 has gone through what you have undertaken, the kind of risks. How significant is it to stay away from all this noise and stay focused on your missions in life? And tell these young fellows, especially after this corona, how important it is to worship time, to really worship time, and let time be the God, nothing else.
You can't really put words into my mouth. I really won't ask them to stay away from social media. I like social media. I think it's important to be on social media. I think social media has its advantages. But like any new technology, that falls into the hands of man, first it is overused, then there is abuse, then there is misuse. You have to go through those phases. But it's only when you understand the real value of social media that you can harness it, choose to be there or not choose to be there. This is something that, let me say, when you talk about fear, a lot of people say that I'm fearless. Probably I'm fearless. Abhilash is a fearless man. That's why he's doing all these things. That's totally wrong. I've not conquered fear. I've not become fearless. I've only understood what fear is. So in the same way, if these people can understand what is social media, how it can warp your view of the world, how it can influence you in so many ways, if they can just understand that, then they will be able to take value out of it. Social media has come to the rescue of people who are suffering from lack of oxygen. Social media has also been used by scamsters to siphon off money from those people who are looking for oxygen. So it's being used this way as well as that way. But I think overall the impact of social media has been positive. I would suggest youngsters should be on social media, but it is important to understand what it is doing to you. It is important to understand, how you are getting enticed by this thing of endless scrolling, how it has been devised so that you are made a prisoner of social media. If you can understand these things, if you know how to break out of it, you will be able to derive relevant information when you need it. I'm very sure that social media has contributed to, let's say, travel amongst youngsters. Because when some person goes to a new place and posts pictures, and when their friends see it, they also want to go to similar places. I'm sure social media has contributed to a lot of philanthropy, because earlier there was no way for people to talk about the good things they were doing. And now we have stories which are coming out of streets about how people are helping each other. And that's probably, in a way, helping these youngsters also to help other people. Of course, social media is one of those blind pits where somebody can fall and never come out, but that's for them to decide.
Yeah, interesting. So, my worry is because there are lakhs of guys follow me on different networks, and especially Tarmak, and I have. It's virtually impossible to reply to all those messages in different platforms. But over a period of time, when I have mapped the behavior patterns, the number of, the amount they spend, the time they spend, and the kind of depth they have on various subjects. I'm not telling that the current generation does not. They have great talent, they have commitment, passion, all that. But the fear is that, you cannot, as you said, you cannot become a slave.
Yes.
You need to put it to the right use. Yes, today,
Yes.
Corona time, pandemic, social media is playing a huge role. But, you know, when you are in the process of achieving, let's say, getting a degree or getting a job or chasing a mission, you haven't reached your first goal.
Correct.
During that time, time is gold.
When you talk about time, I need to really amplify this thing. You have to spend, that thing about 10,000 hours to become an expert. You really need to spend time on your subject to become an expert. 7,000 hours, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 hours, whatever it is, you have to spend time working on your pet subjects to become an expert later on in life. But you also need to remember that you have to spend quality time. Browsing through social media, checking out guitar videos will not make you a guitar specialist. You need to spend quality time with focused practice on your guitar over so many thousands of hours to become an expert. In that way, yes, social media can be a distraction because it's a pit. You go into it, it's very difficult to extract yourself from there.
All right, Vinaya.
There's one question I wanted to ask. So you mentioned your spine injury during the Golden Globe race. What was your coping mechanism till you were rescued?
I met a psychiatrist once in the Navy, and she did a study of my brain or mind, how it works. And she theorized that there's something very wrong with me. And to overcome that defect, I'm doing all these things. When she did my study, everything was very normal. There was nothing terribly wrong with me. The one thing I remember is she told me that I am somebody who always looks at the future and tries to welcome it.
Looks at the
future.
Future.
Not a person who was dwelling in the past.
Okay.
When I had the accident, I was looking at the future. I was waiting for the rescue. I did not know when the rescue is really going to come. I had to survive till how much of a time it took for whoever it was to come and pick me up. And in that time, again, first living in the moment, I stopped, thinking about what if I had not met with the accident? What if this? I did not even for a moment did I think that. My mind did not go in that direction. In any situation like this, which is extreme, I usually resort to chanting, meaningless sounds or Om chanting, which really calms you down. Focusing on breathing, that also really calms you down and brings you into the present moment. And I started preparing for the future. Now you got a short-term future where the rescuers are going to come. So you have to give them a briefing. And the briefing would involve be careful. There might be knives and there might be sharp objects. So you have to be careful. I had to tell them what to pack. Where's my passport? Where's my wallet? And things like that. So there was this short-term briefing that I had spinal injury and I need a stretcher to go into the boat. Then there was a slightly, a few days later, I knew I would be meeting a doctor. So I prepared a briefing for the doctor where I was constantly monitoring my physical condition, that I did not faint, that I did not hallucinate, that I had sphincter control, that I had bladder control. I had a lot of hiccups, which was probably because of an irritated nerve. I could move my toes. There was no strength in my knees. I made this brief for the doctor. And of course, there was a lot of burning sensation in the chest. Beyond that, much more further in the future, I started planning for the next race. And I started thinking of planning for the kind of boat I would buy, the kind of team I would have around me, and how to avoid all the mistakes that I made in this race. And I was really putting myself into a future, building a future for myself in my head where I wanted to be after 3-4 years. And to reach that future, I had some targets. So I was picked up from here, from the boat. I was taken to an island where I spent about 2-3 days. Then I was picked up by a helicopter, put on a ship, and I came back to India, where I had an MRI scan, and I realized that the spine is fractured at 4 places. I needed a surgery. I was flown to Delhi, where I had the surgery. And after the surgery, I couldn't walk. I needed crutches to walk. My legs were completely gone. Not a little bit of muscle left in it. It was just skin and fats. A physiotherapist came to advise me on physiotherapy. He checked my muscles like this, and he said there's nothing really in it. So I asked him, what are the exercises I can do? He said, just move your toes like this and move your feet like that and drag your legs. You can't do anything beyond that right now.
This was when you were lying down.
Yeah, it was immediately after the surgery. Okay, and there was nothing left in my legs. So at that time, I had to create a future where I wanted to be. And I decided that I will be better than what I was before. I will get back into flying and I'll get back into sailing. To reach that future, I made a plan. I was discharged from the hospital. In 1 month, I learned to walk without crutches. Another month, I did physiotherapy. After 2 months, I went to Delhi. When I came from Delhi, when I was discharged from the hospital and I came to Goa, I came on a wheelchair. When I went back to Delhi after 2 months, I was carrying a 25-kilo suitcase, and I did that by myself without anybody's help. Reached the hospital, doctor said, you're fit. Went back to the same physiotherapist. He touched my thighs again, and he was surprised. He said 80% of the muscles are back. And then I came back to Goa, continued with the therapy. I started doing very light gym exercises. When for building core strength, I did Pilates. And after that, I had the fear of falling down. And to overcome that fear of falling down and get some lower body balance, I did a couple of months of kickboxing. And after that, I went to a physiotherapist because I couldn't run. And he said, your muscles are there, they're not coordinating. I couldn't run even for 2 seconds. I couldn't even do 2 hops. He said, your muscles are not coordinating. I asked him what to do. He said, get into a swimming pool with waist deep water and run for some time. I ran for half an hour. The next day, I ran 60 seconds on a treadmill. Within a couple of weeks, I was doing almost 10 minutes jogging on a treadmill. 6 months later, 8 months from the accident, okay, the Navy cleared me for flying. It cleared me for sailing. Exactly 1 year from the date of the accident, I did 50 kilometers of kayaking. And before I retired from the Navy, I won sailing races, I flew, I did everything. I'm going into the future that I built for myself.
Like a miracle. You're a miracle man.
Yeah.
And now you're training for the 22 global Golden Globe.
Yes, only 4 vertebrae fractured. I've got 28 unfractured vertebrae. So I'm going to make a few more attempts.
Amazing, amazing.
So it's amazing. So we have a very, somebody who you would like to speak to. We have Wing Commander Venu Nambish.
Oh, yes.
Voice
Good
of,
evening.
and
Good evening, everybody, and hello, Abhilash.
How are you, sir? Nice to see you here.
Absolutely fine. Great to see you. In fact, of course, if you are there, you can be assured that I might be somewhere around. And when Ananta told me that you're coming on the show, then, and he was kind enough to send me an invite. Why not?
So,
how are things, Abhilash? Good to see you.
Wing
We have
Commander,
one more thing in common now. We are both are veterans now.
That's true.
And before you shoot your answer, let me just, your question, Vinko Venu, for the benefit of all the youngsters watching across the globe. Till very recently, part of Indian Air Force and the Surya Kiran team, right, Venu?
Yes, Ananta, thank you.
And the voice of from Aero India '96 till the last one, very familiar face, very familiar on a very familiar terrain. And so now I'm going to take a break. Let the aviator and sailor, the conversation, first time ever, perhaps. Abhi, we can also claim like the TV channels, exclusive shots.
Exclusive breaking news.
Exclusive, first time ever in the.
Okay, actually, Ananta, I'll just put another thing in perspective. Abhilash Tomy is Commander Abhilash Tomy is a world-renowned sailor, and very few people know him as an aviator. He's a passionate aviator as well. I am an aviator, and I'm also a sailor, but of course not the pedigree of Abhilash. I do love the sea, and I do go out in a smaller vessel, like the kayaks, and have been probably generally lolling around in the inland waters as well. And one thing which I often have been ruing is that the lack of many people taking up sailing here, and that precisely is my question to Abhilash here. Having read his entire blogs and the absolutely wonderful translation of his blogs into Malayalam by the most talented Sunish, who is a journalist, and it was as if having done the expedition along with Abhilash and being on board Madei. And in fact, I was telling Abhilash also when I went for the ceremony of the younger board and the smaller one of Turya, we had a conversation. I said, by the time I finished reading your blog, I felt as if I got sea salt on my fingers while thumbing through the books. I mean, through the pages. Abhilash, Ananta has very nicely used euphemism of how to sail through rough waters. The whole world is going through similar, rough waters, if I can say, or if we switch over to aviator speak, through turbulence. So, Abhilash, you have done more than your bit for the country. You have brought us laurels. You have made us, all of us, proud as Indians. Now it is, do you think it is time for a payback? There are so many young Indians who probably through this medium of adventure would get oriented in life and would get calibrated on all planes of, whether we take it as professional, we take it as on a moral or a spiritual levels, get calibrated towards nation building, and of course, help give a sort of leadership to the country or, the rest of the country when they're passing through rough waters like we are passing through right now. Would you be able to do some sort of a mentorship, or do you have anything in your mind? You are a future forward-looking person. Do you have any sort of a mentorship program through sailing wherein, they can learn the higher aspects of life later? We can't have we can't have Admiral Manu Awati back, who was one of your inspirations. We can't have Captain Dilip Donde here. So, we look forward to somebody like you, Abhilash, to take up something like that. Would you be having something like that so that, our youngsters stand to benefit from that? And of course, the country also in the future days.
I very much want to do that. And I very much intend to do that. And the biggest reason for that is the sport of sailing itself. Unlike any other sport, you play cricket, you could get into match fixing. You play football, you could get into the rowdy fans that football has. So many things can go wrong. Sailing is the only sport where a lot of character building happens. It makes people self-sufficient. And I've seen that transformation happen in people who go to sea. People are constantly complaining that the car late ho gaya, AC nahi chal raha, stuff like that. If they don't find their car, they just walk towards the office, irrespective of their rank. It really makes you humble. It changes you in a lot of ways. I firmly believe that if one generation of Indians went to sea, we will be a completely different country in one generation. That's all it will take to change us, So yes, I really am planning to start something. Maybe a virtual mentorship where I don't have facilities, but somebody wants to learn and do things, I'll be there to help them. I am involved with the sport of sailing right now. Right from the top, I'm a council member of the Yachting Association of India, giving them advice. I'm an honorary member of a few clubs, including Jellyfish. Like this Sunday, I'll be taking a class on knots for their children. I'm also an honorary member of the Royal Madras Yacht Club, and I'm giving them some technical support in terms of ocean sailing, etc., offshore sailing rather. Right now, I've started in a very small way, but I do hope to take it to a level where, any Indian who wants to sail will have an opportunity to sail eventually. That's what I'm planning. Right now, there are a lot of clubs that have sprouted up, but mostly if you want to sail, you have to look at the forces, the army or the navy. But let's say 10 years down the line, if I can make any Indian who wants to sail, if I can give him a boat and some water to sail, I'll be very happy. That's going to be my aim.
That'll be great. That'll be absolutely wonderful, Abhilash, and wish you fair seas and following winds, and of course blue skies as well. Happy landings.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Venu. It's always, just sit back and conversation. Amazing, aviator, sailor. Wow. Actually, journalists should be just taping their mouth and just making their job has to just network, make people talk, don't interfere. So, Abhilash Tomy, let me come back to you with another very simple question. That is, while lying in the sea with no hope, this is for us, okay, you might be having lots of hopes, but for us, the Amatmi, whatever we were seeing on the TV, reading in the newspapers, whatever small information we were collecting, how difficult it was, your boat, thrown up and you were out lying, injured. How many days you were there like that during this GGR?
3.5 days.
Sorry?
3.5.
3.5 days. While swimming in the pool, even for a second, we are unable to, breathe. We know what happened with us. What was that? Especially, does it matter the difference between day and night when you are in that situation, or all both the same? What I want to know is that how did you control? How did you? They say, na, holding on. वो कैसे किया है?
Like I said before, I knew that rescue would come. To begin with, I was in a very, very difficult situation in terms of geography and condition of the boat. If you draw a line between Australia and South Africa, and if you draw a line dead south from Kanyakumari, I was at the point of intersection of these two lines, which is one of the remotest corners on Earth. It's probably 5,000 kilometers from India, and maybe about 3,000-4,000 kilometers from Australia and South Africa. If a Boeing were to take off from Australia and look for me, it would be at its endurance when it lands back. It's so far away from any land. There are no ships that regularly transit these routes. So if somebody has to mount a search and rescue, it is quite a task. And there was a very vicious storm going on. The mast of my boat, the boat was dismasted, but the broken piece of the mast was still attached to the boat. And there was a real danger that these pieces would bang into the hull, make a hole, and that could sink the boat. Now, when a boat gets dismasted, the first thing you do is you cut away the mast. But because of my spine injury, I couldn't do anything. All I could do was wait for rescue to come. And like I said before, I really didn't think about the destination. I never thought about the moment these guys would come and rescue me. I was not waiting for that moment. I stayed in the present moment. I was chanting, focusing on breathing. And like I said, I was, in my mind, I was building a future where I wanted to be after 3-4 years. This is what I was doing. I was obviously, thinking about my wife and my unborn child. My wife was pregnant at that time. I was worried for them because I knew that she would be in a lot of stress. Imagine your brand new husband. We'd been married only for a few months, and she doesn't know if she will ever meet this guy again. And even if she meets him, will he be a paraplegic or not? So it was very, very stressful for her. I was thinking about my family at that time. But mostly I was not really, counting time as to when the rescue is going to come. I was not like telling myself, oh, another 20 hours, there'll be somebody to pick me up. Another 15 hours, there'll be somebody to pick me up. I could have been there for as long as I wanted. I was in that state of mind, just like my circumnavigations. During sailing, I can be at sea for as long as I want. That's how it was.
All right, so interesting. Can we have Rahul? Rahul, can you please unmute? Can we hear one more? Rahul? Rahul, are you around?
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not able to unmute.
Okay, so just reduce the volume a bit on your side.
Hello.
Yeah, can you just reduce the volume a little bit? All right, so go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Now it's okay.
Yeah, so what are you going to, so what magic are you going to perform?
Magic. I prefer something from the classical period of music, the Western classical of music. And I think that this is the good time to perform for you, because you serve from lot of career, like lot of tragedies, lot of pressures in the family and personal life as well as the professional life. You struggle a lot of things, right? I was keep listening. It was a very precious moment for me too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So ये कितना time है Rahul? How long will this be?
Sorry,
How long will this be?
it will be a less time only.
No, let's say 4-5 minutes.
Less than that, I think.
Go ahead.
It's like a marching song, and it's composed by the famous composer Mozart. And the song name is Allah Turka. It's also known as Turkish march.
All right. So just one request to you: during while you're playing, kindly put your phone on plane mode.
Sorry.
Put your plane mode. Your phone.
Okay.
Because last time also, you know that those signals were. I mean, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It's really beautiful. I love Turkish march. I enjoy listening to Turkish march.
I didn't play the entire version. I just play the only one of the 1-2 parts only. There are few more parts is there. I'm a little bit nervous when I'm standing in front of you and perform. It's quite natural.
Okay.
The same feeling which you face the president of India.
Yeah, so don't worry. We will teach you techniques to, on these lines. So now to Abhi, do you have any specific requests to Rahul to play some songs what you like?
Whenever I meet a musician, I ask them to play Musafir Hu Yaro.
Sorry,
And they can't.
I didn't get you, sir.
Which song?
The Hindi song Musafir Hu Yaro.
Hindi song.
Oh yeah, I'll do it, sir. I'll do it in next time.
Next time. Okay. Then can you play a few? Can you play a few?
Actually, I didn't. I didn't practice all these things. So if I just want to perform like in a very good manner. So I just seeking time. That's it.
Either this is not a military event. You can, either make kuch very good manner, kuch nahi hai. Listen. Now, let us now. Can you play? Acha, Abhi, you want anything? Any of your favorite Malayalam songs?
I can't think of any.
I'll play one of you, sir.
Acha, okay.
Yeah,
Therefore,
sure.
you then after that we are going to request Abhilash to sing a song.
That's good.
The nation wants to hear. Yeah, okay. Rahul, over to you.
No, sir, I won't sing song. I can only play piano.
Yeah, please. When I said over to you means.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I didn't practice anything. I just played for you. That's it.
It was beautiful.
Abhi, did you understand which song it was?
Doesn't matter.
Hello.
Oh,
It's a very famous Malayalam song which is it linked to some Kodumbu Vallam, right?
yeah, yes, sir.
Then I should have asked you to play Chemin.
Oh my God.
What he played was what is it? Ali, yeah, Ali Ambal Kadal, yeah, okay.
Yes, Ali Ambal. And it's recently remade also.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
All right. So are you going to stay for some more time with us, Rahul, and finally give us a final performance maybe after half an hour?
sure.
All right. We will wind up this show by 8 o'clock as promised to Abhi.
Okay.
So, okay. So, Vinaya, you have been silent now. Any more? So, what else you have to ask him? Kindly unmute, Vinaya.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Anand.
You know what? So, over to you.
Okay.
Okay. While you prepare, let me now go to Abhi. While you were sailing, did you carry some songs? Some CDs or those? You had some collection of songs with you. I'm sure you would have.
I didn't.
You didn't have no songs at all.
If I play music, it uses up electricity.
Oh, okay.
And electricity is at a premium.
Okay.
So for both the races, for both the circumnavigations, I did not carry a collection. But if at all I wanted to listen to some music, probably turn on the radio. In Golden Globe race, I used to get All India radio, even in the North Atlantic, sometimes. So I used to listen to music on HF. And I remember once I heard "Ae Mere Watan Ke Logo."
Oh,
it was beautiful.
so
And yes, I heard "Sarfaroshi Ki Tamanna." That was also really, really nice. I think it was Bhagat Singh's birthday when they played it.
So, आप कुछ गाना गाते थे while you were sailing?
No.
Don't lie.
My singing,
You're a singer.
my singing angers the weather gods.
Yes.
Day before yesterday, I attempted to sing something, and there's a cyclone here now.
Good one. Don't try to deviate the attention. In fact, for the benefit of all the youngsters, just before the show, we were just setting up the camera. We were checking, each other's settings. So I asked Abhi, how is the weather in Goa? So for the first time, I heard a man somebody telling, I wish we had a cyclone. Imagine, I wish we had a cyclone. So Abhi, 2 line गाओ ना, please. 2 line. जो कुछ आपने, just 2 lines.
Wait, Abhilash,
Yeah.
while you're thinking of a song to sing, we don't want to let you go disappointed because you wanted Rahul to play Musafir Huyaro. I'm going to hum 2 lines for you. This is historic because I've never done it before. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Musafir Huyaro, na ghar hai na ठिकाना, मुझे चलते जाना है, बस चलते जाना.
Wow. First time I am listening on air live a senior singing.
No, that's why I told you, Anand, this is historic. I did it just for him.
Yeah, okay. So Abhi and Venu, in case if you also want to join, Venu, welcome.
Well,
Okay.
here's the thing. If anybody can sing a song instead of me, I'll send him an autograph book.
I'm going to sing. If that's
I'll
the
send
case,
you a book. Fastest finger. Whoever
I've got
sings.
the first book.
Yeah, first book.
Copy of the book.
Okay, Abhi, एक 2 line गाओ ना, just 2 line.
And while you're thinking of a song, I'd like to interrupt. I just want to ask you, are you a spiritual person or a religious person? How do you see yourself?
You spend time at sea alone, you'll become more spiritual than religious. Because all these, what do you call it? The shosha associated with religion will fall away. They will stop having any meaning. And you'll just focus on one thing, which is God. And in the first circumnavigation, see, the good thing about being alone is that if a question arises in your mind, you can contemplate that question for many days without being disturbed. There is nothing that will, divert your attention. So and a mind that is left alone will always have this question, does God exist? And for many weeks, I contemplated this question and my answer was, yes, God does exist. Life has meaning. And, I was seized by this answer. I was very sure, I was convinced that this is the right answer. And then after that, for many weeks, I was convinced that God doesn't exist and life is meaningless. And whether I live or die right now doesn't make any difference to the universe. And I was very convinced that that was the right answer. And after that, the final answer that I got was that it doesn't matter whether God exists or not. Either which ways, life will go on for others, and things may or may not have a meaning. But one thing that I did realize is that humans, have these mass hallucinations during which we give meaning to things that don't exist really. One of those things, for example, is money. We mass hallucinate a meaning for money, and that is why we are able to pluck out a piece of paper and get solid stuff in our hand from somebody else. That is one of the mass hallucinations. Similarly, a God in a social sense is also a mass hallucination, which is important for people, because that being in which we all believe regulates our life without the necessity of having to go to a judge, a high court, or a Supreme Court on a daily basis. It regulates our life because of the fact that we believe in that entity. Now, all said and done, my experience of the divine was very different when I was alone. Like I said, I didn't feel guilty. I realized nobody is trying to control me through guilt. I realized that I was not having any interaction, so I didn't need anybody's adjudication and all. The kind of relationship that I developed with the divine was very, very different. The nature of my prayers changed in my solitude. Usually it's always asking for something. I want to go on this solo voyage. I need money. I need good health. Please deliver me from this storm. But later on, I reached a point where I kind of realized or understood that I was as much a part of divinity as divinity was a part of me. So I didn't have to ask anything. I didn't really have to ask for something. I was totally okay with whatever fate that divinity had in store for me. Why should I change the mind of that supreme being if it exists? When I had the accident, I never prayed for God to get me out of that situation in a good condition. I never did that. I was always ready to accept whatever that supreme being had in store for me. I was open to every possibility. I was only planning for whatever possibility actually opened up. In fact, one of the things that I was planning for was, if I were rendered paraplegic, what do I do with life? And my answer was, I would start preparing for the Paralympics. That's the answer I came up with then. But this is how my relationship kind of changed. So I go to religious institutions, I go to churches and temples, but it is not with the aim of asking for things in prayer. It is, I really can't, I don't have words to express what I feel when I go there.
Yeah, so Avi, we have very special guests. We have Meghna Girish Madam and Wing Commander Girish. We're blessed to have them here. Can you please join, Amma? Hello.
Hello.
Unmute.
Yeah, okay. So we can see you, sir. Just to set the camera properly. Yes.
I'm trying to unmute.
Yeah, okay. So we can see you, sir.
Shall I give you this?
We can hear you, ma'am. We can hear you, sir.
Where is Amma?
Achha, okay.
Hi, Abhilash.
Hello, ma'am.
Good to see you again.
Nice to meet you as well. I remember meeting you in January 2019 in Bombay.
Yes. And I told you then that we all prayed for you, and we feel our prayers were answered when you were rescued.
I'm sure they were answered. And
So much
I never
for
had
prayers
to
and not believing.
Coming right after what you said.
It's really nice to meet you again, ma'am. And I keep a track of the wonderful work that you do on Twitter, of course.
I think we do more off Twitter, but thank you.
Is there any specific question you want to ask Amma to Abhilash?
Typical grandma and me will say, we'll want to know, how's the little one? Have you taken the kids sailing? And I also remember when Girish and I were young parents, we did a very stupid thing, taking our 2-year-olds into the sea on a catamaran. And when we got back, I remember our twins were mostly under the water. And when we got back, we got quite a shouting from the father of the man who took us on the catamaran.
Well, I've taken my kids. I got an elder one who's 11 months, 11 years. I got a younger guy who's 2 years, and both of them love boats. They love going to sea in little boats. I've taken the little one on a fast attack craft, gone all around Karwar Harbor. He enjoyed it. Recently took him to a sailing club, and he got into a boat and he was handling the tiller. Not sailing on land, but he's giving me indication that he needs, I probably have to spend some money and buy him a boat. It's not very good advice buying boats, because a lot of people say that it's much cheaper to stand under a shower and keep tearing 2,000 rupee notes. Boats are expensive.
Like planes.
Like planes. It's tough when you have, two very expensive hobbies. I did want to fly around the world once, alone, and be the only human to have flown and sailed around.
I'm on a Zoom meeting.
And yeah, sorry. I did want to fly around the world alone once, be the only human to have flown and sailed around the world alone. Didn't happen. I hope I can make it happen sometime.
We hope so too.
Yeah, is there anything else you want to ask, Amma?
Not really, Ananta. I'm just here to listen.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for blessing us. So, Abhi, back to you. I'm just trying to share one photograph. Just 1 second. There is some setting issues. All right. So let me just see, and then ask a question to you. Okay, not here. All right, so let me ask the question first, not waste your time. Your experience of hoisting the tricolor on August 15th at a place where no man has ever done. Take us through that 2013 tricolor hoisting.
It was not August 15, it was 26th January.
Oh, okay, it was 26th January, sorry. It was Republic Day, okay.
Yeah. So the thing is, I was doing this non-stop circumnavigation. And when I started from Bombay, the Navy asked me for ETS of various checkpoints. So I gave them some ETS saying that I'll be rounding Cape Leuven in early December and Cape Horn in February and whatever. So they said, no, we need exact dates. And when I calculated, I realized that I was reaching Cape Horn in the first week of February. It was when I was doing the ETS calculation.
Okay, sorry.
It was when I was doing this ETA calculation that, this thought came to my mind that I can probably make it to Cape Horn on 26th January. Now, why Cape Horn? Why is that Cape so important? As a sailor, we really don't have words to describe what rounding Cape Horn is. It is one of the farthest corners of the earth. It's the southernmost tip of South America. We sailors call it the Everest of the oceans. We don't have better words to describe what Cape Horn is. If you round Cape Horn on a sailing boat, you're given two distinct privileges. You are allowed to wear a gold earring on the ear that faced Cape Horn when you rounded it. You're allowed to keep 1 foot on the dining table whenever you have a meal. So that's how important Cape Horn is. Now, I wanted to round Cape Horn on a day that's important to me personally as well as to the country. And when I was crossing the Pacific, that's when I really started pushing the boat very hard. And I made it to Cape Horn on 26th of January, which was our Republic Day. 26th of January was also the wedding anniversary of my parents. And, I hoisted the tricolor, took some shots of that flag hoist, put it on Facebook. And that's when somebody sent a message saying that the tricolor in the background of, with the background of the gray sea and gray sky, reminded her of the words of our national anthem, Uchchala Jaladhitaranga, which is chanted by the waves of the ocean. Like I said, it was also the wedding anniversary of my parents. And for the first time in 86 days, I made the first phone call during that expedition. I called my parents to congratulate them on their wedding anniversary. So that's the story of the flag hoist. The video that I made was made into a national anthem in 2013 during the Independence Week. It was played in every theater in Maharashtra and Goa before movies. It was played in almost 72 channels in television channels for almost an entire week. That video is available on my YouTube channel if anybody wants to go and have a look at it.
So did I show the right picture, Abhi?
Yes, that was the picture.
All right, all right. Okay.
You got a thumbs up from Wing Commander Venu.
Yes, yes, yes. So Wing Commander Unni is my navigator.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a navigator. So we do a lot of backstage work. Good. That's the advantage of having people like Vinko Girish, the veteran, and Venu and everybody. All right.
Wing Commander Venu has just volunteered to be my navigator in a solo circumnavigation mission.
All right. Okay. So we have a very senior journalist. She's not able to join live. Her name is Uttara, a lady who has completed 4 decades in journalism. Very rarely you will find somebody completing 4 decades, especially being a woman. She was my senior in Times of India and even senior to Vinay, all of us. So she is asking, what was your average day like while you were sailing? Did you miss talking to people, or you really enjoyed having your me time?
As far as conversations were concerned, I had satellite internet. I had satellite telephony available, so I could have spoken to anybody and I could have texted anybody whenever I wanted. But at sea, in that solitude, the way things panned out was very different. Initially, I really wanted to be in touch with people. I would send replies to messages as soon as I got them. From that stage of enthusiasm, I moved to a stage of, kind of indifference, where if somebody messaged me, I would take my own time to send a reply. My blogs, which I used to post twice a week, became once a week because I really was not very eager to make contact with the outside world. And then from there, it went into a third stage where I really abhorred any communication with the outside world. The Navy would call me once in a while, and initially I would speak to them, but after some time I had to tell them to stop these calls. I really didn't want to talk to them. On the 86th day, when I spoke to my parents, it's not as if I felt the urge to call them. A day before that, the CNC called me, and he called me to wish me on Republic Day, and he casually asked me if I'd been talking to my parents, and I said no. He asked me why. I thought it was all government expenditure, and I couldn't use it for my personal purposes. He said, no, you please make sure you call your parents tomorrow. And that's the only reason and the only time that I spoke to my parents. So as the voyage came to an end, I kind of really disliked having communication with the outside world. As far as the day is concerned, your prime goal throughout the day is to get sleep. Sleep deprivation can cause a lot of problems. 48 hours without sleep, you start hallucinating. You don't want to get into a stage where you're hallucinating. Now, it's a very stressful environment. You can have storms that go for weeks, at least for days. And in the middle of all these, you need to find the time to sleep. And everything that you do revolves around sleep. So if a day starts with sunrise, you do your morning routine and do the meditation and all that, make something to eat, sleep for half an hour. And then get up and download the weather reports, do your weather planning, sleep for half an hour. 8 o'clock, you send your morning report to the naval headquarters, sleep for some time. Take rounds of the boat, figure out what all work needs to be done on the boat, sleep for 15-20 minutes. 12 o'clock, you make your noon observations, sleep for some time. Make lunch, sleep for some time. Go around the boat finishing work, sleep for some time. So you have these set things that you have to do. You have to have your 3 meals a day. You have to send your reports. You have to download your weather reports. You got your work planned around the boat. Could be servicing of the generator, or some electrical work, some carpentry work, or something or the other that needs to be done, which you plan out. But mostly your day in the boat revolves around how much sleep you can get and when you can get that sleep.
Hey, Obs.
All right. So,
Hello.
all right. So, Abhi, just one question, which is pardon my ignorance. What happens when you sleep? How does the boat go?
The boat is on autopilot. During my first circumnavigation, I had 2 electronic autopilots. They were like standby for each other. So you set the boat to a particular wind angle, you trim your sails and let the boat sail. The problem is this setup is only good if the wind speed and wind direction does not change. If the wind picks up, you need to reduce your sails. If the wind direction changes, the boat direction changes, so you need to set it to a new angle to the wind, and you need to retrim the sails completely. And this is a continuous process. It's not like you can set the sail, push some buttons, and the boat will keep sailing for 5-6 hours at a stretch. So even if you're sleeping, every 15 minutes you open your eyes, you go out, check if the wind speed has changed, you check if the wind direction has changed, and you retrim the sails, or you readjust your course. You have to keep doing this continuously. In the Golden Globe race, electronic autopilots were not permitted. I had to use what is called the wind autopilot, which needs a much more precise trimming of the sails. If the trimming of the sails is not right, this thing just will not hold course. It will go all over the place. There will be a lot of yawing happening in the boat. Secondly, I was not allowed to carry any electronic devices. So if the wind shifted by 20-30 degrees, there was no warning I would get. If the wind shifted 20 degrees or 30 degrees and my boat veered off course by that much, I would really not be doing very well in the race. So when I was sleeping, I would have a compass mounted on top of my bunk, and every 10-15 minutes open one eye and check if the boat has gone off course by 5-10 degrees. You're cooking, you have a compass to look at. In fact, when I was sleeping, I always had a compass hung around my neck. So, just pick it and check the direction that the boat is doing and keep it back if it's not changed much. Do that every 15 minutes for 5 months. When you come back on land, it's very difficult to get back your normal sleep pattern. And for me, at least in the first case, it took me a 1.5 years to get my normal sleep pattern back.
Interesting. So what did you cook?
A lot of stuff. My food was divided into, fresh rations for the first 1 month. And after that, all packeted stuff. In fresh ration, I had, say, a lot of fruits, vegetables, potatoes. Now, one interesting way I would cook potatoes is just chop them into 4 pieces, put it in seawater and boil it. And the potatoes would absorb the right amount of salt it needed, and then roast it in butter. But once the fresh food gets over, I had food that could be cooked. Instance, I had rice, I had tinned tuna, which I could fry when I wanted, and things like that. I had freeze-dry food that came from New Zealand, and this food only requires the addition of warm water, and you can eat it after 10 minutes. The problem with this freeze-dry is that it looks very good. The pictures of freeze-dry looks very good on the cover. But when you actually try to eat it, it's very difficult. It's tougher than going around the world. And then DFRL gave me a lot of, almost 100 packets of Indian food. And this really, really helped. I rounded Cape Horn and I was having chicken biryani. I had rotis, even after 3 months at sea. I had, what do you call it? The only thing that I didn't like was the rasam because it was so spicy that every time I tried to have it, I got loose motions.
That I have already communicated to the director when I wrote the last
Is
book. But I told them the chicken biryani was awesome.
Everything was awesome. You had what do you call kheer, in the middle of Atlantic. Now, interestingly, one of my friends in Goa who has a farm, she also packed some stuff in very innovative ways. She gave me sun-dried tomatoes, sun-dried capsicum, which I could. They really lasted 5 months. She had an innovative way of preserving apples. She took a container with wheat flour in it. She put 3 apples inside, lit a candle, left that lit candle inside the container and shut it. Now this lit candle sucked out all the oxygen and converted it into carbon dioxide. And I carried this tin around the world with me. Finally, on the 5th of February, I started on the 1st of November. So November, December, January. After 3 months and 5 days, I opened this tin and I had 3 fresh apples inside the boat. Wow. And, that was so delicious. I can't tell you. Of course, I had a lot of snacks. Popcorn was my favorite food. When I ran out of popcorn, I thought I must give up on the voyage. I was really lost, something I was not prepared for. My grandfather gave me those pickled shark. There were dry prawns from the Konkan coast, which I would throw into poha. My only regret is I sent an invitation to DFRL to attend the reception ceremony, but I never got a reply from them. I would really love to meet them once and give them my thanks.
Amazing place. Our plan is very clear, Abhi. Whenever you are coming down to Bangalore, Mysore is one trip, and of course, I'm going to take you to Meghana Girish ma'am's place, house. We are going to drive. We are going to gate crash. What preparation, Bapre. Recently, I was there. You're talking about rasam and all, no? Amazing magic. So now let us go over to London. We have a special guest waiting there. Wing Commander Shiv Randa. He is there now. I want you to unmute Shiv. Yes. Kindly unmute. A very, very, can you hear us?
People? Yes.
Okay, yes. Can we see? All right, okay. So, a very, very seasoned aviator with AIST as well. Now he's in London. His wife is with, with the government. She's on deputation there with the High Commissioner's office in London. So, what do you want to ask, Pinko?
Yeah. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. I mean, here it is good afternoon. And thanks, Krish, for inviting. Really, it was very nice to hear from Abhilash and all of you. And the positivity, what I am observing, I mean, it's just overflowing with Abhilash, all those talks. I mean, really, that's how the life should go. And, all the different phases, and we keep capturing the moments of life, and happiness keeps moving, whatever the condition comes. So, Abhi, I'm a flight test engineer. Just to introduce, a little bit. I'm a flight test engineer, and just recently I taken a PSS from Air Force just to join my family here in London.
Oh, you cannot say you are just a flight test engineer.
Yes,
people know what is the. You are just. It is not Oscar engineer. Itna sar FT bolo to you are like the test pilots and the FTs, you are like not just a flight test engineer. So the youngsters watching this program across the globe and who watch later, please understand the difference between just an engineer and a flight test engineer, just a pilot and a test pilot. Sorry to intervene. Go ahead.
Yes. So just recently I have taken a PSS. So today as Abhi's day. So my question for Abhi will be, see, in whole of the things, yes, I'm seeing a lot of positivity, but what the message as you go over a period of time, like your thought process changed. Forget about the spirituality and religious point, what you mentioned, all over changing. But in a uniform, first civil, then uniform, then again civil. And in that whole of the duration, what the most positive thing you absorb, and you feel that everybody should, whatever the earliest we can absorb, that is the best. I mean, to take on and go with the life, which even for the newcomer who is entering, and the people like maybe at 50 or 60 or 70 also, you can, I mean, wherever possible, they should absorb that. I mean, with your experience, what do you say?
I think the only lesson that I've learned is that there is no substitute for hard work. There is no miracle in this world. And whatever you get is as a result of hard work. Some people get lucky early, some people get lucky late, but nothing comes without hard work. And this is exactly what I want to tell anybody who's starting their life, anybody who's in the middle of their life, anybody who's in the later stage of their life. It is just hard work. I started sailing at the age of 17. I got my first national medal in sailing in 2015. I started sailing in 1997 and I got my first sailing medal in nationals in 2015. It took me almost 18 years to get a medal. The thing is, you just keep at it and don't quit. That's the only thing that can, work magic in this world.
Absolutely. We are just on the landing phase. Thank you, Vinko. Our regards to, your wife, who's a scientist now on deputation, doing excellent work. I must tell you, Vinko, Ranad's wife, she is on deputation. The real unsung heroes during this COVID time, whatever material is being shipped from there, whether all those supplies that are coming from UK to aid India during this current COVID crisis. Her team, there's a team at the High Commissioner's office, the unsung heroes, faceless superheroes, I would say. Binko Venu, you have a very, very, very interesting, fascinating question. And I don't want that question to let go. Over to you.
Abhi, I don't know. In fact, I would like to offer my apologies in advance if it ever touches the wrong nerve, because there is. I'm sure you will have some sort of like emotional connection to what I'm going to ask you. It does have a small bit for me as well, because having followed the Madei and its intrepid sailor throughout the circumnavigation, not knowing you as the friend Abhi, which I know now. And later, seeing the little one Turya, being launched into the water, you had mentioned that that Turya, you had named it after the fourth state of consciousness. Like for those who have not probably followed the Turya, it is a state of mind which is said to be the fourth state of consciousness, where the possibilities are endless, like all those, synapses which are there, and, some codes which we are really not aware of, and the, unlimited possibility, and even the possibility of transcending the known logic and reason, and experience a state of awareness that one has never experienced before, which, which will most of us think of logic and reason is that, when you're in sea 5,000 kilometers away from the nearest shore, and beyond the range of beyond the radius of action of even some of the endurance long endurance airliners that we have, picking up or survival becomes out of question. Forget about being difficult or whatever. So Abhi, did by any chance the name Turya kind of rub onto you? Were you probably, like, did that state manifest in you that helped you probably survive what happened there down, 5,000 kilometers away from our shores?
I think it probably did. Now to expand, Turya comes from Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad talks about the 4 states of consciousness. The first is wakefulness, second is sleep, third is dream state. And all these 3 states are contained in what is called the Chaturya Avastha. And it is from Chaturya that you get the name Turya. It is also, Wikipedia also says that it is the hypometabolic state of restful alertness. It also says that Turya is also defined as the silence in the Om. The Om consists of A, U, and M, but there is a silence which contains all these 3, and that is also the Turya state. Now, when we were looking for a name for the boat, it was my wife who recommended this name. She said, it's a very nice name for this boat. And she kind of landed on this name because I sent her a video of a Swami talking about Chaturya state, the 4th state, and what it means and all that. And she said that everything that happens to you, your sleeping, wakefulness, dream state, everything is happening inside this boat. And therefore, the boat itself is the 4th state. Once, before I started the voyage, I had a dream in which I was, in the dream, I was meditating. And there were 2 other people who were sitting and meditating with me. And after a couple of hours, they got up and went because they didn't feel like continuing. I continued meditating for 7 days. This is happening in the dream. And on the 7th day, I leave the dream state and I go into the 4th state, which is Turya Avastha. Now, that's happened only once with me. But in the boat, when I was sailing, I can assure you that I was flipping between many states. About a week before the accident, I dreamt that I was walking bare feet on wet grass. I had this dream. After the accident, I was picked up. I was taken to the island. I was bedridden for 2 days. On the last day, I asked them if I could go for a walk. They got me crutches. I went walking. And I remember taking off my slippers that they had given, and I was walking bare feet on wet grass in that island. I remember meeting my, yet to be born son in a dream. And he had very tight curly hair. And he was wearing these banyans and was sitting on somebody's shoulder. That's what I saw. And when my son was born, he had very straight hair. And I was like, maybe the dream was an aberration. He had really straight hair and not too much, But 2 years down the line, his head is full of curly hair. It's so curly that people call it Maggie noodles. And sometimes when I see him wearing a banyan, I often recollect that dream where he was wearing banyan and he had this really curly hair. I really believe that I was transcending states in that boat, and not just in that boat, Turya, but even in Madai. I had dreams which often came true. I had dreams that were being dreamt by other people almost 10,000 miles away from me. I had dreams about the future that came true. I was really living in a state where time really did not matter and space also did not matter. I could move around the way I wanted.
Amazing. I think that was the best question of the day, and what a fantastic answer. Venu, you must join journalism.
I'm happy. That's right.
Amazing kind of research you do. Not now, even in the last thing, you have it in you. All right. So when me and Abhi, okay, now shall we just share a little bit of thoda trailer? Sabko batao what we are going to do, or Abhi nahi bolna?
Up to you.
और टेम्पो ठीक है I will not get into the details. So once the world opens up, we have been waiting in the wings for many months for an amazing program together. Something which nobody has seen so far. A shoot, which with the entire crew, the Tarmak crew, with Nirmati Productions, we are going to travel perhaps to Kerala, to the backwaters, and do something perhaps nobody has ever done. Not walk the talk, something different. The script is yet to be read. He's getting ready, but before that, we want a very safe place to do all that. Quickly, Reshma, former journalist, now a senior communication executive. Are you there? You want to ask a quick question? We are going to wind up. Reshma, are you there? All right. So, Rahul, over to Rahul for your final performance. We have a special guest now in Meghnagiri Shamma. She'll be loving to see your performance, Rahul. Rahul chala gaya?
No, he's muted.
Hi, hi, Anand. Reshma here.
Okay. Reshma, you have to be very quick.
Yes. Hi, hi, Abhilash. It has been an absolute delight to hear you. I have been your fan since long. I thought I must tell you this. For after hearing what you've said, do you think there is a hope for us Indians in this COVID situation? I know you've been through a lot. So what is it that you think will help us overcome this? There is so much of negativity.
The problem is that whenever a crisis hits, people forget the basics.
Yes.
And, that's what flying has taught me. That's what sailing has taught me. Doing the right thing in the right way and keep doing it. The only way to be safe right now, while we are waiting for vaccines, is to mask up, use a proper mask, use an N95, stay away from people, sanitize your hands. A mask is as effective as a vaccine. It's got almost 95%, efficiency. We just need to keep doing this every moment, every day, either till Corona disappears or till the time we all can get vaccinated. That's what we do in a storm. That's what I do in a storm. Keep doing the right things. Keep the boat safe. Don't do anything stupid till the storm is out of the way, and then you can get on with your normal life. That's what we do in flying. We keep doing the same thing every day. Keep practicing the same procedures every day. Every time we take off and land, it's exactly in the same way. The procedure, everything is repeated exactly in the same way, so that one day when it's raining hard or there's a lot of turbulence, you still do the correct procedure exactly in the same way that you've been practicing. I think that's what is the need of the hour right now, to focus on the things that we as people can do to keep ourselves safe and not add to the strain on the system.
All right, so we have overshot our deadline by 7 minutes. So now last 5 minutes, over to Rahul for a quick performance. Rahul? Rahul?
I think he's muted.
Rahul, please unmute. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay,
How should unmute?
Go ahead.
Okay. Now I'm playing one of my favorite piece from a Hindi movie. And the song name is Khwaja Mere Khwaja. Movie name is Jodha Akbar.
Ay, कौन है मुझे?
Amazing, Rahul.
Wonderful.
Wonderful it was, wonderful. What a talent. What a talent you were. Just to tell Rahul's story, Rahul was in Bangalore. He was running a music school in Indranagar. Very, very popular Thompson music. Right, Rahul?
Yes, sir.
And like all of us, Corona hit him as well. He had to shift his base back to Kochi. Those who have read his resume, his brief achievements in this, he's 30. What all things, he's a multifaceted musician. How many instruments he can play and the levels at which he has gone. A big salute to you, young man. We are going to share your story to the world. Today was just a trailer. So back to Abhi, as we said to land, we also have with us Ram Prasad. Ram is a amazing guy, again linked to music family, Ram Seva Mandali. So we are going to see Ram tomorrow more. So Abhi, I want to just finally ask you, and remember you haven't sang those two lines. Without that, this program will never end.
Good.
What is that one thing you want to tell young India? What is that one thing you want to tell young India? Especially, in all our missions, whatever we do, a lot of silent things we do. What is it you want to tell as their Anna, the elder brother, that they should do? And what they should do all the time so that they reach their goals faster?
Youth is the time to put in hard work. They have to focus on their studies, their extracurricular activities, and put in as much effort as they can, because they're not going to have the luxury of time once they grow up and they pick up a job. And that's been my biggest learning. This is the time to focus on your strengths, to focus on your weaknesses, to focus on everything. Later on in life, probably you'll only be able to focus on your strengths, but you'll not get the sort of time once you've grown up and your responsibilities and all that.
Absolutely. So 2 hours, Abhi, just 2 lines, and we are ready to land.
I'm really terrible at singing. I don't think it's a good idea.
It is a good idea because we are all your fans. 2 line.
I'll lose respect.
आपका गिटार नहीं है?
No, I don't have one.
I
found a wife.
You have learned.
I found a wife. After I found a wife, I realized I didn't need a guitar.
Good one.
And my elder one standing there is, indicating to me, please don't sing.
No. 2 line.
I'll sing it to you in private, 100%.
No. Do line, Abhi. Come on. See, on YouTube, see the comments. Abhi sir, please sing 2 lines. So many people are commenting on YouTube. So, please, not because of that. My request.
These days, my favorite song is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, How I Wonder What You Are. Thank you.
Wow. We will remember you for these 2 lines. We will remember you forever. Thank you so much, Commander Abhilash Tomy. And okay, I forgot to Dr. Commander Abhilash Tomy. Congratulations on your doctorate.
Thank you so much. That was really unexpected, but somebody gifted me a doctorate.
No problem. If they gifted you, or even if it's an honorary doctorate, it came because of the kind of gifts you gave us to the nation, right? So thank you so much. Thank you, Vinaya. Thank you, Amma and Vinko Girish, and of course, Renu, and everyone who has joined, Reshma, and all others. And especially a big thank you to young man Rahul. And Rahul, some goodies are going to fly to Kochi the moment the courier services open up. And Abhi, I don't know how I should thank you. Every time I wanted you, you were there. So for my stories or whatever, really, it's a great inspiration for mad people like me who capture the great stories, inspiring stories, and give it to and inspire other mad fellows. We need to make this nation a mad country. That is my mission. We need to tell these fellows to concentrate more, achieve your goals, then do whatever you want. Don't get into the traps of netas and the so-called social activists who are using them on social media for whatever purposes. Lot of distraction. Because I map them, because they're in touch with me. People like you are great inspiration, even for us. And this will go down as one of the best sessions I have done. It was like a calm sea, and especially people like Vinaya, who is, and I haven't even heard her scream even at 20%. Everything is conveyed through calmness, and you, the calmness of sea. And of course, Girish, Amma is there, so she's again another example. I hope all the young fellows watching this program today, maybe 20 years later, I will again be there if I'm around to interview you guys, the next Abhilash Tomys, the next Major Girish, and the next Abdul Kalams, wherever you are. Keep watching Tarmak and do support us whenever you can. These are tough times. Thank you, Abhilash. Very proud of you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Ananta. Thank you, everyone. And hope to see you in person sometime.